That's the man up top, number 9, Brian Brown. Well, the 2 men up top, number 9 and 99, the danger men for the 11.
Yeah, it was Rugg who had the game winner in Indy against the Scorpions back on October 18th of the fall campaign. Now taking a look over at Alan Marcina in his second full year, the 11 that he submitted. It'll be John Kempen, the man on loan from Sporting KC, back between the posts. Omar Cummings had the lone goal in that 3-1 loss in the opener. But I know you're excited to see Marvin Chavez with his second appearance for the Scorpions.
Yeah, Marvin Chavez, a Honduran international, played with Honduras this summer in the 2014 World Cup in Brazil. One of the best nicknames of any player around. El Hijo del Viento, son of the wind. Gives you an idea of how quick he is with the ball.
Scorpions with the early toss, wearing the gray kits. The visitors from Indianapolis, Indiana, come to town with the white tops and the blue kits, and still an undefeated mark of currently 2 draws on the year. A late tie against Atlanta in the opener, and just last week, Indy 11 still has never lost to the New York Cosmos. Yet another draw in that budding rivalry between those two sides, despite a very attractive game played by both clubs last weekend.
That was a fantastic match. Indy 11 looking for their first win of the year. The Scorpions, well, they're looking for their first points. 1 game, 1 loss, that home opener to the Tampa Bay Rowdies, and this should be a good one tonight. 2 teams will trying to work their way up the table.
Not just one man on loan from Sporting KC. You just saw Saad Abdul Salam with the throw-in, the rookie, drafted this past January by the Major League Soccer side, and he'll continue with another toss as the Scorpions continue to matriculate closer towards the opposing frame. Scorpions had last week, I don't want to say off, that would mischaracterize the task at hand, but a bye week on the schedule. And I know a lot of fans and us in the broadcast booth and press box, we would look at that and think you'd rather have it during the midst of the spring season, but for a Scorpions team that did not have a lot of preseason matches, it was a valued week for them to come together. Scorpions want a handball, and there is the whistle.
Well, you mentioned the dearth of preseason matches for the Scorpions. They only played 3, and really, because of that, it was a tough start to the season. You talked about that season-opening loss to Tampa Bay right here at Toyota Field. The off week coming at a perfect time. They were able to get 2 weeks, get some practice in, but talking to the Scorpion players, they're ready for an opponent. They're very tired of scrimmaging each other.
Scorpions already attacking that back line, but right back up towards the midfield as the ball briefly on the foot of Brian Brown. Cleberson still not available for the opening portion of this season, so a notable loss early on without the Brazilian, who has those 32 caps for his national side.
You talk about Cleberson coming back from that injury. Making progress is the Brazilian, but not on the bench tonight for the 11.
And the first man down is Dragan Stojkov. Stojkov, one of the few newcomers for the Indy 11. We remind you, Indy last year in the spring, winless, but 4 draws, 5 losses. And with that said, Summer knew what he had. He liked the pieces. He saw them start to gel as that fall season concluded with that unbeaten streak that included their first ever home victory against a very impressive Minnesota United side. They came right back and showed it was no fluke against these Scorpions in a shutout victory. So Indy 11 keeping those key ingredients in place, adding some newcomers as well. And I know they're optimistic about what they can put on in terms of a show up there in front of those 10,000 strong they have every week at home.
We take this opportunity to welcome in all the fans there from the Circle City, everyone watching from the Hoosier State. And as you said, they've had a lot to cheer about, a great home field advantage there at the mic. But here on the road, taking on the defending champions, looking for their first 3 points of 2015.
Again, it was a bounce-back fall for Indy as they would finish tied for 6th with the Cosmos for that fall season. Janicki, he was the only original Scorpion to have played on the roster for the first 3 years here in San Antonio. Headed a little bit closer to home this year, the former Michigan State Spartan. And it'll be, it looks like, the opening corner kick opportunity belonging to the 11.
Yeah, well done by the Macedonian there, Dragan Stojkov. You can see the pace, pressing it early. Now danger coming from the visitors.
Honors will be handed by Dylan Mayers. Last year, 11 starts in his 24 appearances with the 11. A couple of assists, looking for one right here. 8 yards in front of frame. First contact will take place. A foul, though, will precede it. After That ball had dropped to the feet of the 11. They'll never get a shot off. Instead, John Kempen will be able to address this ball on his own terms. Kempen had a rough outing in his debut with the Scorpions. 3 goals allowed in that opening match as Tampa Bay notched the first 3 goals. But again, the season openers and home openers have been a struggle on a consistent basis these first 4 years for San Antonio. The question is, at what point will they find that run that they've enjoyed each of those first 3 seasons and quickly climb their way towards the top of the table?
Now you talk about that run, 9 unbeaten last year. They went for over 2 months without losing a match, did the Scorpions. They're not going to have that kind of time off because there's not the month for the World Cup break. With that being said, San Antonio, traditionally a team that starts slow. The good news is they heat up quickly.
We talk about Greg Janicki. His evolution with the Scorpions last year finally resulted with him picking up some goals on set pieces. He was starting to contribute offensively as well as his class defense as one of the top men in the NASL. And, well, it speaks volumes. You retain so many players up there in Indianapolis, and it's the newcomer right there with the captain's armband.
Indianapolis, talk about that atmosphere at the mic, and hats off to those fans. And the boys in blue represented every time they have a home game, and, well, even some fans here in the away match.
They'll send the ball back up towards midfield, met by Janicki. Again, San Antonio is without Julius James on that back line. A little patchwork here tonight. They'll be tested early. Shot. Little trigger pulled. Another one from 18 yards. No. Pass out to the wing, and this one will be notched just wide. It'll be a goal kick, as that one came off the right foot of Franco, who had pushed all the way up from the back line.
Well defended by Ciscaritze. That was the question. The man replacing Julius James. James, the Trinidad Tobago international, out with the red card he received in that season opening loss. Ciscaritze, he wins the first battle and the first ball he sees.
John Kempen will approach this one. The Leawood, Kansas native outside the Kansas City area, a homegrown talent for Sporting KC. Actually got a nice call to the U.S. men's national squad back in January. Opportunity, shot from 20, and that time Neek able to come through with that right paw.
What a save from the German goalkeeper right there. Scorpions faithful thought they'd found the back of the net in the 7th minute. Not the case, but a corner coming.
So first big opportunity for the Scorpions after a huge stop by the veteran between the posts for Indy. Neek with already his 9th save. Castillo will send one out, 6 yards. Have not been able to clear and struggles now for the 11. Castillo to Forbes. Left foot keeps it playable. And this will be a goal kick coming up for Indy, who wanted an additional foul.
Yeah, you got to like what you see from the Scorpions early on here on this near side. And those are the danger men, the Colombian Castillo and the man from Turks and Caicos who just picked up his 4th cap earlier this year, Mr. Billy Forbes. Scorpions like that triangle here, and they're going to try to get it to Cummings up front.
So Charlie Rugg will be the man in your picture. They put this ball on his right foot. Good to see he has healed after, well, Julius James picked up a red card against this Indy side last year. And it was moments later that Rugg realized he had broken his foot after the tackle. He actually tried to play on that broken foot for about an additional 10 minutes trying to fight through it. But he would find out soon after that his season was over.
See the boys in blue, head coach Jurgen Sommer's squad. They know that Ciscaritze is the new addition replacing James, and that is the man they are trying to attack early.
The 23-year-old Californian Franco will have the toss. Able to slip through. 3 Scorpions have taken notice, and finally one of the newcomers able to send it out wide. Pressure on the far wing, as numbers will gather in the gray kits for the home side, looking for their 2nd scoring strike of the year.
That was an absolutely fantastic ball played to the far side, able to find the boots at Cummings, but the Scorpions unable to make anything of it.
Again, we saw Omar Cummings come in for the final 23 minutes, and during that time he found a stoppage time goal 2 weekends ago here against Tampa Bay. We figured he would soon find his way into the starting lineup. It was a matter of fitness after a limited offseason.
Cummings, a very impressive resume, the longtime MLS player. Scorpions very happy to have his services. A proven goal scorer is Omar Cummings.
Advantage still with the 11 they'll play on. And the Scorpions will not allow this ball to get any closer to their new keeper here in 2015.
Very evenly played here in the 10th minute, box-to-box action. Neither team able to separate themselves from the other, and the Scorpions come the other way.
Another opportunity, full speed ahead. Past Janicki, shot high. And the former Spartan does his job affecting that strike.
Yeah, that time it was the aforementioned Marvin Chavez, the Honduran international. El Hijo del Viento had some space, but the shot not on frame. No trouble for Nick as we take a look at the replay here, and just leaning back, unable to keep his body over the ball, and no trouble for Christian Nicht.
So here early in the 11th minute, Nicht with the supporters groups, Crocketeers, Bear County Casuals, El Veneno, all at his back in the opening half. Will boot it in touch back over to San Antonio. Castillo, this year's captain, was not on the roster for San Antonio at this point 1 year ago. He is one of the many valuable newcomers, including this gentleman, Billy Forbes, who will run out of real estate.
Yeah, beautiful ball, like the idea, played from Cesar Elizondo, the Costa Rican, to Forbes on the near side. And San Antonio starting to build a little pressure, a little momentum.
Among the men notably left off the roster for today is Richie Menjivar. He missed out on the start against Tampa after getting another couple of caps with El Salvador.
Menjivar playing for El Salvador against the likes of Argentina. Well, that'll certainly give you some experience at a world-class level, and you see the head coach there, Alan Marcina. He's very happy for his guys to get call-ups. He says there's no greater honor than putting on the national team jersey, representing your country of birth, and getting to go out there and play with the 10 for your country.
I think the entire NASL has taken notice to Coach Rongen's bow tie last week in Tampa, as once again, Summer rocking the blazer and a nice vest on Alan Marcina. If you can convince a manager in San Antonio to wear a vest, that's the ultimate sacrifice, it would appear.
Well, things will certainly warm up, but currently just about 73 degrees here in San Antonio. It's a very nice day for the middle of April.
Thomas Rongen left enough of an impact in that opener here in San Antonio 2 weeks ago, claiming that victory for being pushed to a draw at home against Minnesota United, a United side that fell earlier today north of the border in Ottawa. And last man of defense comes through, that's Franco.
A heavy touch there from Cummings, just let that one stray a bit far, and Franco there knocking it all the way back to Kempen. See both teams very cautious early in this one, neither willing to concede anything early. Like a heavyweight fight, both teams taking the opening minutes to feel out the other, see what the other wants to do and counter.
Kempen spent a little time outside of his home state of Kansas when he won that USL Pro title 2 years ago with Orlando City SC.
You mentioned the homegrown player Kempen, the first ever homegrown player signed by Sporting Kansas City to their MLS squad.
He joined the Scorpions early in the offseason, announcing the full season loan, and it was the week leading up to the NASL spring season opener that he found out his new teammate with Sporting KC would be his newest teammate here in San Antonio. Actually went to the airport to pick up Abdul Salam and welcome him to the Scorpions. Abdul Salam, one of the talented defenders playing in front of him here for the spring campaign.
Yeah, very impressive in his first start, that 3-1 loss to Tampa Bay 2 weeks ago. But Abdul Salam, a bright spot on the back line, and tall, lean, moves very well, but also very good in the air, as you would imagine, with that long frame.
And there is the rookie we're talking about. Opportunities, a little kit tugging. And Indy does its job, at least for now. As there's the newcomer. An early touch for Joseph Nane.
Nane, the Cameroonian, won the 2013 NASL championship as a member of the New York Cosmos.
Yeah, in all total, in a year and a half with the Cosmos, in their first year and a half of existence, 39 matches for the men in New York after a few years in MLS. As you mentioned, the 28-year-old from Cameroon. Chavez trying to lob one inside, creative thinking, but in the end, Neat will come through with a stop.
Yeah, piece of individual brilliance there from the Honduran Marvin Chavez. Over the top it went, but just off the intended target, looking for the boot of Forbes.
Chavez, the man with 42 caps with the Honduran national team, was actually, in essence, a reference to this league, the NASL, by fellow countryman Walter Ramirez, a former Scorpion. Daru, longtime veteran in the NASL, including the last 3 years now with San Antonio. And that'll be a foul on Elizondo. As the man to hit the pitch for Indy was Brad Ring. Ring came off the bench last week, gets the start, continues those ties to the Hoosiers of Indiana.
And one of the better men's Division I programs in the entire country are the Hoosiers. Every year it seems like they are in the national championship or the semifinals.
Yeah, I misspoke earlier. It was Ring who had his season ended by the red card tackle of Julius James back in August. First two meetings between these two sides were right here in San Antonio. Jurgen Summer right now just wants his voice heard with our fourth official tonight. That's Pedro Trejo Jr. That gentleman lending a hand, Matthew Bordeaux. His assistant referees tonight, Ramon Bermudez Jr. and Tony Obis. As Brian Brown, again one of the talented Jamaicans on these two rosters, back on his feet.
Yeah, Stephen Daru, Brian Brown, both native Jamaicans. Saw them chatting before the match. This one getting tense early, as you might expect. Both of these teams, well, still very early on, but neither one has been able to come up with a victory so far here in 2015. Meek set to send this one the other way, sending white jerseys forward.
A quick look back at the collision. Elizondo getting a speaking to after going after that one.
Yeah, tried to catch a ride there on the back of Brown.
Slipped through, a bit of trouble, but just enough help in time for San Antonio on the back line.
Yeah, well done on the left side, the combination here of Daru and Ciscaritze. The big question mark was how would Z come in covering for Julius James, and so far he has been very impressive.
And Ciscaritze, ideally for the Scorpions, will be a holding mid. They'll be tested again, slips through the 18. Unmarked, out wide. A brief header, second shot, again denied. And Kempen never had to get a hand on it. Again, it's the rookie coming through for San Antonio. As the slide stopped by Abdul Salam. But still knocking on the door, the visitors from Indianapolis. This ball kept tight. Headed out by Abdul Salam.
Yeah, Abdul Salam, twice the rookie there, able to clear it away. San Antonio, well, they will have the free kick, but unable to clear it out of their own half. Danger persisting. Indy 11 throwing wave after wave of white jersey at Kempen's goal, but unable to come up with the opener. Something a bit interesting here for the Scorpions. It was Cummings who started up top. He has since dropped behind, and now Chavez and Forbes, the two men up top. Playing that false number 9 is Omar Cummings.
Scorpions headed back in the right direction. The newcomer will send it out wide. And San Antonio will get the slightly belated whistle as Elizondo hit the deck.
Things heating up quickly in this one, just the beginning of the 20th minute, and both teams, well, they've gotten over the beginning first rounds of this heavyweight fight as we take a look at the replay. Elizondo on the far side and took an unintentional elbow there to the side of the head, did the Costa Rican.
Still got one good year. Elizondo, of course, came over last year in that trade. Danny Barrera heading over to Carolina. Chavez, all 90 minutes 2 weeks ago in his Scorpions debut, over 100 MLS matches on his resume.
More impressively, had 2 starts this summer for the Honduran national team in the World Cup.
This one delivered far post. It'll drift astray. It'll be a toss for San Antonio.
We talk about players playing in internationals, and well, Minnesota United, one of their own, an NASL player, getting a run this weekend in USA's 2-0 victory over Mexico.
Castillo tosses it in to the shortest man in the box. Billy Forbes somehow stays with San Antonio briefly. Now backed over to Niecht. Yeah, Miguel Ibarra didn't dare start the rumor that he was going to stay in San Antonio.
A lot of people question Jurgen Klinsmann and the U.S. men's national team staff, do they watch NASL play? Well, the answer is a definitive yes. Ibarra came on as a second half substitute, representing the league very well, did the Minnesota United Loon.
The voice of the Indy 11, Greg Rakestraw, up there has a Saturday morning radio show talking about soccer at all levels, abroad and at home, and played an interview with Landon Donovan on the show today, and Landon was very well aware of what was taking place up there in Indianapolis, as well as the NASL. It's a league whose presence is growing, and you imagine Miguel Ibarra, as one of the many ambassadors, has helped that. 11 looking to strike from distance, opportunity, flag stays down, and Kempen comes through with his first stop.
Yeah, looking for Rugg that time. Rugg able to get the head to it, but no power, no trouble for Kempen. Kempen, he's gotten a pretty good start to this game, hasn't had to face anything spectacular, and it's really what a goalie wants. Get a few touches, be able to work yourself in at your own pace.
Back line is where San Antonio has lost so much from a year ago, and with Julius James having to sit out tonight, that many more question marks, including what kind of consistency will be in front of, on top of all things, a new goalkeeper this year as well.
Yeah, James has been fantastic on that back line. Adds a bit of bite. It does the big man from Trinidad and Tobago. So good in the air. Has the big body. Deceptively quick. Saw him out practicing pre-match, and well, I know this is very hard for him to have to watch this one and not have any chance to come in.
Now, among the men who haven't signed elsewhere, Adrian Can. I know a lot of Scorpions fans hoping that when that knee has healed up, he will opt to be a Scorpion for a second year after the Canadian was a captain a year ago with San Antonio.
Can certainly a fan favorite here in San Antonio. You see his bright smile all across the stadium, everywhere taking photos, signing autographs. The Scorpions hope they'll be able to retain his services.
Yeah, he was present for the ring ceremony last week. I should say 2 weeks ago, when the Scorpions raised their championship flag and handed out the awards, and a yellow will be addressed. A little delay of game of sorts against Indy, not allowing the kick by Castillo, who was looking for a quick restart. And that will be issued, I believe, towards Dylan Mares.
Indeed it will. Mares, the attacking midfielder, picks up the first caution of the game for either squad here in the 24th minute. And as you expected, this is going to be a tense matchup from the opening whistle. Both of these teams need the 3 points. They need to get something going. San Antonio only 1 game and 1 loss. It has been 2 straight draws for the Indy 11.
Forbes slips through. Always has speed on his side. Sometimes a little bit too quick for his own good. And a little too physical that time with the flailing arms.
Yeah, Forbes very frustrated the call going against him and the Scorpions. But as you said, so dangerous, so electric is the man from the Turks and Caicos, able to slice between the 2 Indy 11 defenders.
So the ball will be addressed by Christian Niecht. Nice size keeper at 6'5", 225 out of Germany. Had an early taste of soccer here in the States in the old USL Pro with Rochester and the Rhinos. He was the only player in the league last year in the NASL to play every minute of every match.
That is a phenomenal stat considering all the teams, all the players, and only one playing every minute of every match.
And this touch a bit too heavy. Back over to Neek for the goal kick. Neek came through 8 saves against San Antonio in their spring meeting at the Mike last year. It was, remember, I believe Walter Estrepo who came in with a late goal to steal that one away for the Scorpions.
Man, credit the Indy 11 fans. They have done a fantastic job turning Mike Carroll Stadium there on the campus of IUPUI into their home field. They have turned it into a fortress, upwards of 10,000 fans every time they play there.
And it looks like the city considering about a $20 million investment to solidify that fortress and make it even more friendly on game day.
For your safe, effective, and natural support to lose weight and get back on track. 3 convenient locations. Call 210-468-1891 to book your free wellness evaluation today. Or for a full list of services, visit ifunctionalhealth.com. innovation into the tech sector. In addition to their current growth and income debenture funds, D-Fruit is diversifying its offerings with a new trending technology debenture fund. D-Fruit Funds, innovative investment fund design with safety in mind. And it's time for a corner store corner kick.
That ball alive. Physical play, and that's going to merit a whistle on Giroux, if not earlier on Elizondo.
That free kick coming in dangerous position here as Brown goes down. We'll see who'll take it for Indy 11. They will look to send this one swinging to the head of a boy in blue. Still looking for the opening goal in the 36th minute.
Osman Melgares will be the man to position this ball. Melgares, another Honduran, notably from Real Sociedad.
The same hometown as Martin Chavez, two of them having some words. Debating where they like to eat when they go back home.
Left-footed talent with the 11 these days. Swings in. Z will get the first head on it with that shiny dome. Winds up with the captain Castillo. Up ahead to Forbes, a familiar connection. Forbes able to keep it on the near side, but no, flag is up. Alan Marcina has palms to the sky, and I will have to agree this time.
Beautiful ball down the line here to the near side. It appeared that Forbes was able to keep it in play. Again, the ball has to go completely over the line to be in touch. You see the head man of the Scorpions there, Alan Marcina, very unhappy with that call.
Castillo will be calling for the hook. Drags Melgares down.
Here, everything's better.
Talk about Melgares' ties with Honduras, Chavez, but also with current teammate Sergio Pena. So they've reunited for the cause up there in Indy.
Pena gets on the bench to start this evening, is the midfielder for the boys in blue.
Back to Z.
When I spoke with Alan Marcina, the Scorpions head coach, before this game, asked him about Tsiskaridze. He said, don't worry, he is very, very good. And just as advertised, Tsiskaridze, he's been great.
Giroux won the first touch, but that ball streaks right by Chavez. Cummings, he has a lone goal this year for the Scorpions. Scorpions looking for their first points to put on the table by the end of tonight. Cummings able to come through from around this spot off of a rebound against the Rowdies to deny them a clean sheet. It was the first ever goal for the Scorpions in a home opener or a season opener.
Yeah, Scorpions continuing to press, looking for something in the middle of the park, and just too congested, too many shirts, both gray and white. Now El Hijo de Viento sends it to the far side.
Chavez out to Elizondo. He may run out of real estate, able to tap it just in time on that far touchline. Castillo, traditional. He's both feet on the ground. No need for a bicycle on that attempt. But again, Christian Meek will come through and keep the 0 on the board.
Castillo so dangerous every time he gets the ball in his boots, always looking to put it on goal. You see it here, just some space, putting it to the far post, and he carries that one over the line for a quarter.
Having to favor that post to his left. Castillo, this a tight delivery. The men collide in the box, the play will continue. Forbes playing on both wings. It's time from the right side, left boot. Neek knocks it down, free ball. And the 11 have survived.
And who else but Greg Janicki, the former Scorpion, heading that one off the line. Still a 0-0 game. Scorpions looking for the first before the break.
Oh, they couldn't find Elizondo. Forbes will lose the touch just inside the 18, and finally that ball resides in the arms of the German.
He's going to have to buy a steak dinner for Janicki as we take a look at it here. Shot from distance, that one bouncing around the box. Cummings thought he had it for sure, and at the last moment, Janicki there to head it away.
Depending on the final score tonight, that may be your play of the week. Trainers with concern for one of the visitors right now, Greg Janicki. Comes through. He's a phenomenal player in his 3 years. Former Spartan from Michigan State. Keep this a shutout. That is Stoikov down at the moment.
Macedonia being attended to by the training staff. We talked about Janicki. The Scorpions, they know how good he is. If anyone does, Scorpions fans, they were very disappointed to see him leave, but moving closer to his home there in Michigan. The newborn, a young son, very happy to be around family. You and I spoke with him pre-game, and he said everything's great. The fans, the atmosphere, very happy to be part of the boys in blue.
His greatest disappointment so far is the fact that they had the Final Four, Tom Izzo and Michigan State, right there in Indianapolis, but Indy was on the road.
A true Spartan alum, he is a huge Michigan State sports fan, as you might imagine, and disappointed the Spartans were unable to bring home another national title there to East Lansing.
That'll conclude the college basketball portion of our broadcast. Looks like we'll see a decent amount of stoppage time before we go to halftime. Good to see that gentleman back on his feet. Stoikov is going to have to step off for a moment.
Dragon Stoikov, he's been impressive here in the first half. Very, very quick with the ball in his boots. The good news appears that he's going to jog off the pitch. We will see him again.
He was the first addition that Jurgen Sommer and the 11 made all the way back in November, before the new year rolled around. Last time fans in the States saw the man from Macedonia in action, he was in the USL Pro, now USL is Postos, LA Galaxy's second side. He will continue, so Indy never shorthanded in the opening half after a few minutes of delay. Again, the 11 unbeaten this year, continuing that string that they wrapped up last year with. 2 draws thus far, the result, each a couple of 1-1 ties at Atlanta and at home against the Cosmos. Scorpions just with 1 match under their belt, a 3-1 loss against the Rowdies.
The Scorpions had 2 weeks off after that opening match of the season. Those teams, well, that's the opposite of what they would want. It actually worked out very well for the Scorpions. Only 3 preseason matches gave them a little time to get the newcomers acclimated. You see it here, much improved product on the pitch in the first 45 from San Antonio.
But we almost saw it again from Omar Cummings a moment ago, didn't we? Another rebound sent his way. return for Greg Janicki. The Scorpions, another great opportunity to have found themselves on the board. Z will poke it through to Castillo.
Room on the far side.
Nane. The signing of Nane announced just a couple days ago, and already an impact in the starting lineup.
Yeah, very impressive as the defensive midfielder, as you said. Born in Cameroon, played his college ball at Old Dominion. Does a good job, holds things up.
And of course, Indy is very well aware of what's lacking in that midfield for San Antonio this year. They saw Walter Restrepo last weekend with the Cosmos.
Big losses in the offseason. Walter Restrepo, the Colombian, so dangerous, so good streaking in from the wings. Very hard to replace a player of that caliber.
Restrepo was really testing that back line for Indy, forcing some cramps in the opposition. Drew out to the newcomer. I keep saying newcomer out of habit, but that's almost the entirety out there on the pitch at the moment.
Yeah, nothing against Indy 11 actually bringing the vast majority of their squad back this year. It's a reason for some of their early success in the continuity from 2014.
Looking for Cummings, Janicki, a couple inches taller, will get to it first, but it winds up with Elizondo. Mid-season addition last year, pulls the trigger, 22 yards out. Rebound to left boot of Castillo, but Neat has come through again. He had 8 saves in that initial loss last spring up in Indianapolis against the Scorpions. 2 minutes of stoppage time will be what is merited here in the opening half.
Neat has been absolutely fantastic here in the first 45 minutes.
Flag down. Opportunity still alive. Put the cross off the mark.
Saw the idea, beautiful ball across the face of goal, but not a Scorpion there to redirect it.
Steele looking to reclaim possession. It does right in front here in the summer in the Indy bench. Maybe Steven Drew at the moment.
Chavez, el viento, Honduran, and Rodrigo is back on his feet, taking a knock there, but appearing he'll be able to walk it off.
There is a healthy Drew. Castillo, the new captain this year.
Castillo led the Scorpions in goals last year, though he played half the season.
Masterful move, sends it to far post, off the mark, and that foot that ailed Drew for the past year and a half is looking 100%.
That really is. And you see the speed of Drew, the left back, trying to get things going the other way, but expect a little better service from the Jamaican than that. The last ball lacking, and really that's been the story here in the first half for San Antonio. They've had more possession, had more attempts. The shots, they haven't been on frame or they've been stopped by that man right there.
He had 79 stops last year. The goal for the 11, keeping them in just about every match throughout their inaugural campaign. Whistle on the 11. Again, just one booking here in the opening half. Dylan Mayers drew the honors back in the 24th minute. There's nice control so far of this match by Matthew Bordeaux. I know many of us were concerned after the opener against Tampa Bay that we may have to see our first referee get Tommy John surgery. We saw right-armed yellows, we saw left-armed yellows.
Luigi Colina, the Italian referee.
That's one of the easier squeezes for Neat in the opening half. And they'll say the 2 minutes have expired. Plenty of opportunities for both sides. The Scorpions slightly outshooting the visitors, but Neat able to keep that sheet clean. And it sends us to halftime with a 0-0 score, 1-0 against Ottawa. And I've been told there may or may not be a rivalry between those two sons. The Scorpions will send this one back up towards midfield against San Antonio in the gray kits tonight, while Indy in the white tops and the blue shorts.
I think the first 10-15 minutes of the second half are going to be crucial. Both of these teams are going to look to get out on a good foot. They know what the other one has. We've already played 45 minutes, no surprises coming. And as we said, still early in the season, but both these teams really desperate for their first victory.
For the Scorpions, it was opportunities not just lost, but at times stolen away by the visitors, Niecht and Janicki on that back line.
And the Scorpions and their faithful thought they had at least one, possibly two goals, but as you said, big German goalkeeper able to put a right paw to one, and well, the longtime San Antonio Scorpion Greg Janicki doing what he does best on this field, and that is clearing a ball away.
This one up ahead to Brian Brown, the 22-year-old prodigy out of Jamaica. Will concede it back over to San Antonio.
Brown and his line mate up front, Rugg, noticeably absent for long stretches of the first half. They're going to have to get involved, and you heard their head coach in our halftime interview saying, played a bit too direct at times, really not their style. They've got to get numbers forward, slowly matriculating players down the field, trying to get numbers in the offensive end. Not a team that sends the Route 1 ball over the top, but that's what they were resorting to in the first half.
We saw 2 goals up in Indy last weekend. Brian Brown had the first, nice little 25-yard chip up and over the opposing keeper for the Cosmos. And, well, the Cosmos, of course, we saw in those plays of the week both goals, including the first entry into the account of Raul.
Yeah, it's so fantastic to see the longtime Real Madrid man, the Spanish international, Raul Gonzalez Blanco, into the NASL. People have been anticipating his arrival for a long time, and we know the fans up there on Long Island extremely happy to see him pulling on the green kit.
And picking up the victory earlier today. This is your nightcap in the NASL. Thrilled to have all of our local viewers on MeTV, KSAT 12.2, and of course worldwide, and in some cases internationally known on ESPN3 and its various platforms.
We remind you, you can get into the conversation on social media. See the hashtag SASVIND above the KSAT 12 ABC logo.
As this ball coming up from Melgares and his left boot. Made his debut against Atlanta in the opener as a sub, and Kempen about 3 feet off of his back line, able to pull that one in without any concern.
That service not finding its intended target, easily into the hands of Kempen, looking to put that one between the penalty spot and the top of the 6-yard box. That's the ideal position.
We talked about Kempen on loan for the season from Sporting KC. Let's put that on pause for a moment. Here's Chavez inside the wing, cross far post, and there's that opportunity again lost. The back line able to close the gap for Indy.
Yeah, looking for Cummings was Chavez. Chavez sending that one in a beautiful service there, but picked out, headed away well.
I believe that was Franco across the way. We'll get another look here in just a moment before Niecht puts his boot into this.
Again, you see Chavez teeing this one. Beautiful service to the back post, but headed away off the head of Cummings, and the goal kick the result.
So talking about, again, Kempen on loan for the season from Sporting KC of Major League Soccer. 5 games with that side, including experience in the CONCACAF Champions League for being sent on loan to Oklahoma City FC of the USL. All poked in.
And Scorpions had pretty good success with another goalkeeper on loan last year, Josh Saunders on loan from NYCFC. All he did was come down and win the NASL championship.
Oh, what a tackle. Billy Forbes was looking to run past yet another defender in his young NASL career. That ball just stripped right off his boots.
Brad Ring that time taking it away, pickpocketing, and a beautiful job defending there from Ring in the middle of the park. Forbes didn't even know it was gone.
Meanwhile, Dylan Mares was plucked right off that ball by that large frame, belonging to the man they call Z.
Zorab Sitskaritse, born in Tbilisi, Georgia, spent most of his youth on this side of the pond. He had a trial with Internacional, the Brazilian squad, down in Puerto Alegre, and as we said, he still holds the record for the longest goal ever scored in the Swedish Superettan, 65 yards.
Yeah, when you call him a Georgian, you're not talking about the Peach State. Meanwhile, the German right on the edge of that box, able to squeeze it in. And it'll stay with, well, one of the top performers in that first half. Again, Niecht last year, 8 saves, and it still wasn't enough against the Scorpions in the first go-round last spring.
Well, he may have had already that many saves so far here this evening. He has been fantastic from the opening whistle. You can make the argument that the reason we are still scoreless is because of number 24.
Castillo back to Daru. As Cummings trying to give this ball chase. Janicki, the first man to it.
You heard what his head coach Jurgen Sommer had to say about him in our halftime interview, a natural leader, and I think that's the best way to describe Greg Janicki. It doesn't matter what team he plays for, where he is, he's always going to find a way to take responsibility and get involved in a leadership role.
Janicki was part of a Scorpions backline last year that really had 5 quality starters available once everybody was healthy, and yet he only got 1 match off a year ago, though it was a welcomed opportunity for him to be with his newborn. But that was a man who you could count on for 90 minutes a night.
Now his son Adrian, not a newborn anymore, continuing to grow, and he says one of the nice things about being in Indianapolis, well, he has grandparents to watch him.
Yeah, free babysitting. That's one of those things you have to factor into your new contract. Elizondo inside the 18 to Cummings. Far post, and it fires home. Well, he did it throughout a successful career at the top level of American soccer in Major League.
That was Cummings who put it away, but credit the Costa Rican Cesar Elizondo. Elizondo had 2 defenders with him, found Cummings in space. As we take a look at the replay, and you'll see the ball Elizondo around 1 defender a second, leaves that one in perfect space, and all Cummings had to do was put it to the far side.
Elizondo gave his new teammate no choice but to score. Cummings with 42 MLS goals, now his 2nd of his young NASL career.
Beautiful work right there. And Cummings, that is one thing he can do. He can put the ball in the back of the net, and we talk about the beautiful play there. Elizondo, as we take another look at it, wins the ball around 2 defenders, had the shot, but unselfishly laid it off for Cummings.
No mistake. And no blame to be placed on the opposing keeper, as finally the Scorpions had just knocked on that door at just the right time, able to sneak it past Niecht.
Yeah, nothing Niecht could do about that one. He's been fantastic. That time his defense maybe letting him down a bit in the center of the park. Elizondo taking advantage. It is 1-0 to the host.
And for the first time, as a Scorpion, John Kempen has a lead to defend. They fell behind early 2 weekends ago, right here.
Now the pressure on the boys in blue. Indy 11 trailing on the road. They've come back from deficits before. Can they again here tonight?
Indy has not conceded multiple goals as of yet this year in a single match. Strive to keep that trend alive. An equalizer as well would help them keep an undefeated run and stretch it perhaps to 8 matches in a row. When you looked at what they were facing the final 2 months of the fall season, talking about the 11, that schedule was not going to be an easy place to find victories, but they did so. A team that was gelling heading into the offseason and has done quite well early on here in the 2015 spring campaign.
Yeah, a team that hasn't lost in their last 7 matches dating back to last season. But they're going to have to find the equalizer if that streak is going to continue.
And the play will continue to move in favor of San Antonio as Elizondo will help Daru back to his feet. Well, Elizondo, remember, was traded for mid-season during the summer last year, acquired from the Rail Hawks, a man they sorely missed by the end of last year as it became tougher and tougher for them to protect their house over there in Cary, North Carolina, after a phenomenal 18-match run. But Elizondo, just 1 assist, but truly was a man who emerged as a constant up front for Alan Marcina and his plans for the future.
He was fantastic. Didn't have the statistics, didn't have the stats, wasn't the goal scorer, didn't have the assist, but always in the middle of the action, just as he was right there, able to win the ball back in a dangerous area and find a teammate.
Again, it cost the Scorpions Danny Barrera, a talented fan favorite in San Antonio, but a key mid-season acquisition. Scorpions had so many. Billy Forbes signed during the month of May last year. His first half of soccer had 2 assists against Carolina in the second half here at home. Rafa Castillo came through during that World Cup break, and Elizondo would join them as well.
Yeah, the 3 of them taking no time to acclimate here in San Antonio, absolutely taking to it like a duck to water. And especially Castillo, only here for half the season, but leading this squad in goals.
Poke through, flag is up, and Niecht takes a shot. just for pride to keep that ball out of the net.
Yeah, the idea was there. Do you like it? The knifing ball to the top of the box, but run just not timed. And a good high line kept by the Indy 11 back line, able to get Chavez just on the wrong side.
This time Neek will be able to address the ball under his own terms. Omar Cummings, the difference maker thus far. On a beautiful pass from Elizondo. Again, Neek only allowed one goal last week, but it was thanks to, again, another beautiful layup. Ultimately, that Raul was able to capitalize on.
And now Indy 11 forced to come back. San Antonio looking for the insurance goal, and here comes Forbes the other way.
Billy Forbes always in fifth gear. Janicki at midfield. As they'll build it up on the near side. Right now, Charlie Rugg centering this ball towards ring. Taken away by Castillo, up ahead to Chavez. Chavez will slow things down for a moment.
Yeah, well done with Chavez. Knew he didn't have numbers going forward, electing to slow things down. San Antonio playing a bit more patient here in the second half than they did in the first, and maybe contributing to their success.
Pass Z, opportunity for the equalizer, but coming through just in time. Again, Adekora.
Now, the only mistake we've seen in this match for Ciscaridze, who's starting in place of James. He got the red card in their season opening loss 3-1 to Tampa Bay. But that time the Canadian Adekora able to knock it into touch.
Well, you're not going to find an Alan Marcina team complete without some Canadians, and Adekora certainly provides that for San Antonio this year.
You mentioned last year's captain Adrian Can still recovering from a knee injury. Scorpions have to hope to have his services later in the year.
Forbes able to work around Melgares. There's that man again.
Still a bit strange for the Scorpions fans to see the original Scorpion, Greg Janicki, in the white top of the Indy 11.
Cross sent in, Kempen able to squeeze it in with all 10 digits.
Kempen has played very well tonight. You've got to think his confidence is sky high, especially with a goal lead. Sending numbers forward is the young man from Kansas.
San Antonio in search of its first points of the spring campaign. Remember this year, 10 matches in the spring with the addition of Jacksonville. In part the reason why there is now a bye throughout the spring for each team. I want to remind you of a non-NASL date for San Antonio next month. May 27th, all United States members of the NASL will be participating in the U.S. Open Cup, entering in the third round.
One of the greatest soccer competitions in the world, the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open Cup, and open to all levels of play here from the MLS all the way down to the USL PDL. And that is one of the great competitions, as we see all teams across the state.
Abdul Salam fires it into the box. The 11 refused to concede any insurance following the goal from Cummings. Well, a beautiful setting for soccer. Again, all eyes of the North American soccer world were cast here on San Antonio this past Wednesday. A little south of here at the Alamo Dome, slightly larger venue. Close to 65,000 Mexican and American fans.
That was a fantastic matchup, and as is always the case when USA and El Tri get together, the result, 2-0 in favor of the red, white, and blue. A lot of complaints about the pitch. Not so here tonight. You heard Indy 11 head coach Jurgen Sommer talking about the quality of this field here at the break, and well, for my money, one of the nicest fields anywhere at any level in U.S. soccer.
Yeah, you and I are spoiled showing up to the office on these Saturdays to watch the Scorpions. They played their opening season at a high school football stadium that is located just across the street behind us over at Heroes Stadium. They would go on to win the regular season, but an early exit in the semifinals in the old playoff format. The notorious headbutt, the punctuation of Heroes Stadium. Ball sent out wide, looking for a better angle. 3 gray shirts in the area looking to knock down this ball. And it cannot slip through the wall, at least not yet. Out wide to Frias. 20-yard opportunity against the rookie. Off his right boot tonight. Those long legs prevailing for San Antonio. belonging to Saad Abdul Salam.
Fantastic defending there at the last possible second from Abdul Salam. He appeared that it was beaten, and as you said, able to stretch the long leg out. We take a look here. Frias ready to send this one in on goal. And Abdul Salam saying, not so quick, my friend.
Officially loaned to San Antonio on April Fool's Day. A pleasant surprise early on for the Scorpions. Castillo will give this one back over to Indy for a toss. Salam at the combine for the MLS draft, a top 10 vertical. That time didn't need to elevate, but you'd love to see that on set pieces, as we'll likely see throughout the year.
Yeah, Salam is a fantastic athlete, tall, big, fast, strong, everything you look for in a center back. And the Scorpions, they have to be very impressed with what they've seen here just in his second game in a San Antonio uni.
Back out to Frias, who again was matched up with Walter Restrepo last weekend in Indianapolis. Janicki keeps that ball away from Chavez. It was Frias who was cramping up, eventually had to exit the match. If you're going to cramp up in Indianapolis, chances are cramps will rear their head in San Antonio. A bit of humidity here in Texas. Speaking of substitutions, we are about to see our first. It will come from the bench of Jurgen Sommer and be in the form of Don Smart. And I feel like you're obligated when you say Don Smart to include the phrase super sub. He had the PK that forced a draw in Atlanta in the opening weekend.
Yeah, the Jamaican right winger coming on, and as you said, the super sub, that is a very apt title for him. And he will be coming on for the Honduran Osman Melgares. So Melgares, the first casualty of the afternoon, and he will come off in the 63rd minute.
It was Smart who had the first ever game-winning goal in Indy 11 history against Carolina last year. And he is officially a part of this match now in place of Osman Melgares.
Said he's come off the bench in both of the Indy 11's first matches, that home opener, and able to strike April 4th, and then again against New York.
And all of a sudden, the boys in blue, with the presence of a newcomer, able to strike and pull this one even. A set-piece opportunity pays off.
Absolutely amazing, taking advantage of the set-piece. Scorpions fans are stunned, and it is a 1-1 ball game, and a Scorpion down inside their own 6-yard box.
From the boot of Mears. We'll see if that's an own goal. Either way, it counts.
I think that came off the head of Morales. We'll have to see what the officials say.
His head found something, whether it be an opposing noggin of Castillo or whether it be Morales with the goal. Either way, we are even, each side with a goal here in the second half. I believe they will credit it to Morales, as that will be his third as a member of Indy 11, his first of the year.
And Morales from La Ceiba, Honduras, and comes up with a huge goal there to knot it. We said that Indy 11, they were going to have to come back trailing 1-0, and able to do so. Now all to play for, and the pressure on the Scorpions.
Well, good things happen when you bring Don Smart into a match. Now, he, of course, didn't have the goal there, but his presence, perhaps enough. And again, we will confirm that Morales does get full credit for that goal.
San Antonio playing a man down temporarily. Nane off the pitch. He's being attended to by the training staff.
A set piece now, moments later for San Antonio. Jurgen Sommer had so much success with his first sub. They'll have Vucic Wojciech come in at the next stoppage. From 19, Castillo goes wide, and it'll be a goal kick. Castillo thought he was taken out with a tackle that was off the mark that has him hobbling for a moment. But Niecht will simply be able to address this ball in a moment. As I noted, Vucic Wojciech will be the second sub used today by Indy. And the Scorpions will make their first. And I'll correct myself. Scorpions are down a man. We're simply waiting for the return of Joseph Nane, who's the back of his head that collided with the forehead of Morales.
Now the substitution coming, Wojciech on, and well, that last play, San Antonio, the opportunity, that ball spilling to the top of the box for Castillo, and that's who you want the ball to find if you're a Scorpion fan. But a bit of a collision, Castillo unable to put the shot on frame.
So Charlie Rugg will come off in favor of Wojciech. And now Z, the man down, and they will stop play. Though he appears to be able to get back to his feet in a fairly timely manner.
And Nane set to check back in. He's been attended to by the Scorpions training staff, and now we are back 11 on 11.
Early moments of the 67th minute here at Toyota Field. Third match of the year for Indy 11, second match of the spring for San Antonio. And the Scorpions will concede it back over to Neat.
Yeah, one of the unwritten rules of this game. That's what you do in that situation. Send it back to the opposition and their far end.
Flag was up for an offside on San Antonio, their second or third of the match. Again, our referee tonight, Matthew Bordeaux, as Janicki will be in charge of addressing this one. And he has his eyes on Wojciech, the newcomer, into the ball game.
I give a lot of credit to the boys in blue of Indy 11, down a goal on the road, able to come back, find the equalizer. And now a little momentum for the visitors as they look to take the lead.
In case you're wondering about Vucek Wojciech, native of Illinois, Polish-born, led the nation in college at Bradley with 14 assists his final year. Part of the Chicago Fire Academy growing up as well. Finished up his collegiate campaign as the Missouri Valley Conference Player of the Year. Touch from Ring. Right now begging for the ball is Jaime Frias at the bottom of your screen.
And Frias armed, raised for a good 10 seconds. Not a teammate able to find him.
Adekora will lay it back to Kempen. Frias steps in front of Elizondo. Adekora in an uncomfortable situation there, right in front of the frame, about 20 yards out. Unable to maintain his feet underneath him, but no damage done, at least for the moment.
Yeah, the Scorpions not as clean as we saw them in the first half and early here in the second.
A run out wide for Stoikov. And play will continue, simply a goal kick for Kempen. Scorpions found the first goal of the match here in the second half. It was in the 52nd minute. Omar Cummings has both Scorpions goals this spring. But 12 minutes later in the 64th, Eric Norales with his strike on the year. Could the 11 keep this unbeaten streak alive? Take it into next weekend's affair against Carolina.
Oh, beautiful job there. Nane able to ride out the tackle, still with it. The ball searching but not finding its intended target.
Was looking for Forbes and will pick up a foul a moment later.
And that's what Nane needs to do. He needs to use his strength, show his size and skill in the middle of the park. Able to do so there. But again, the final ball lacking, sounding like a broken record. Scorpions have had opportunities. Nick has come up with some big saves, but I'd like to see them continue to get the ball to the wide spaces and send it in. That's when they've looked the most dangerous.
Frias has some opportunities. That time will split a pair of teammates, and it winds up with Daru of the opposition. Castillo finds his man. Cummings perhaps looking for a brace from distance, denied after that ball had slipped about 1.5 yards inside the 18.
All Omar Cummings needs is about 6 inches to get that shot off, and Indy very lucky to deflect that one, never reaching the goal of Niecht.
Castillo doing a little dance with Wojciech for a moment. Nane back to Daru. Siskaridze. And play will continue.
I think that's a good no call right there. Chavez going down a bit too easily for the liking of our center referee.
Out wide, this time they do find Frias.
Now it's Indy 11 doing a good job using the width as that ball sent in, and very lucky that Brown was unable to keep his footing.
Yeah, the flag did go up across the way offside. But still dangerous. Elizondo making the run away from the ball. That ball will never have a chance to leave the feet of Daru for his teammate, as the 11 pluck it right away. An entertaining second half. After near misses in the first half, a couple that got away here in the second 45.
Oh, beautiful ball over the top. Castillo searching, Chavez able to come down with it.
And Billy Forbes will simply eclipse the inline. This ball back over to Niecht.
Yeah, a lot of one-on-one play here from the Scorpions in the 72nd minute, getting away from the 1 and 2 touch passes, the tiki-taka that made them successful in the first half.
That man, the appropriately first ever signee for Indy 11 for last year's season. Nice place to start building your franchise.
That's what everybody says. Build from the back, build down the spine, and well, Indy 11 has done a fantastic job. As you see Niecht, the man in front of him, Janicki, and all the way up to the guys up front with Rugg and Brown. Very impressive center for Indy 11.
11 still threatening to perhaps take their first lead in San Antonio. Frias across denied by the rookie, but right back out to his teammate, currently on the feet of Maris. Almost a miscue, but collected by Janicki in the center circle.
And San Antonio starting to compact further and further defensively. No gray jerseys moving forward, and even if they are able to win it back, that's going to be hard to get anything going the other way.
Well, the last time we saw Greg Janicki standing at midfield before tonight, lifting the Soccer Bowl trophy with the Scorpions.
Yeah, Scorpions fans watching the ring ceremony, the unveiling of the banners on the north side of the stadium in their home opener 2 weeks ago here against Tampa Bay.
Check them out online at sanantonio-pestcontrol.com or call 210-525-8823. Pest Shield Pest Control.
Adekora will send it back the other way. Meanwhile, Nane has a title of his own in the NASL, part of that first successful campaign with the Cosmos. That back line trying to hold its ground as the 11 flirting potentially with their first lead of the match.
Porous defending from San Antonio. Nane gave it away. He was able to win it back with a throw on the far side. And Forbes is going to have to be careful. He's going to pick up a yellow for dissent.
Had a couple of conversations tonight already with Mr. Bordeaux. Same side of the pitch that Indy was able to set up its equalizer from a tad earlier. That back during the 64th minute. Now 10 minutes later, can Dylan Mares find another assist? John Kempen all by his lonesome inside the 6. A mad rush headed his way. Spills loose, able to save it on the far post.
Kempen didn't know anything about that ball. It ended up in his hands, and lucky it did. If it would have gone anywhere else, it would have found the back of the net. Kempen will have the wherewithal to come down with it as we take another look here.
So fortunate, no visitor was on that far post waiting in the wings.
That one coming off a Scorpion, actually. I believe it was Abdul Salam last to touch it. Fellow Sporting Kansas City man. Kempen very, very lucky. If he would have been anywhere else, that ball would have been in the back. Abdul Salam is going to have to drop back about 10 yards.
The most amusing thing, well, this ball will go back over to Indy. I thought they were going to have Salam take the throw farther back, even though he's willing to toss it back as it was. Now Frias will advance forward right in front of Jürgen Sommer, who had wanted a foul prior to that last exchange in touch.
It's going to be a great last 15 minutes of this match. Both of these teams, they want the full points, both looking for their first W here in 2015. And you can see both teams are really pressing, looking for that second goal.
Scorpions already came away empty-handed in their first home match. They have yet to travel in the spring. They still have trips to Minnesota, Jacksonville, Edmonton, New York, and Atlanta to look forward to.
Yeah, San Antonio starting the season 2 games here at home, 2 weeks apart, but nevertheless.
Hey, Scorpions fans, are we going to make some noise for the final?
Jürgen Sommer's already made a pair of substitutions. Don Smart was the first, no surprise. Wojcik the other.
The Scorpions, they've yet to make a change.
And that goal that Indy was able to find has seemingly tilted this pitch. Neekt has been untested as of late, and this rare touch right on cue will come from a friendly forehead.
That seemed like Neek was making a save about every 3 or 4 minutes in the first half. Not the case here in the second. Credit his defense, especially the midfield. They've really stepped up, able to win balls in the middle of the pitch. Has the Indy 11 midfield line. But San Antonio taking themselves out of this one, dropping back defensively. As you said, the momentum on the side of the visitors from the Hoosier State.
Frias. And after all that, to Castillo.
Now, during the Run for Everyone sales event, get a great deal on all Toyotas, like the versatile Camry.
Well, Indy needed some heroics in Atlanta to salvage a point in that 1-1 draw with a PK. They didn't have to wait as long for their goal tonight to pull even with the Scorpions on the road. And they find their first multi-goal performance of the spring. In a moment, Kit, you and I are going to have a chance to introduce you to the first substitution of the night for Alan Marcina. It'll be Palomeke. Christian, the 21-year-old from Medellin, Colombia. He's part of his national team through the U17 up to the U20 levels. And he will come in for the lone goal scorer tonight, Omar Cummings for San Antonio. And Cummings with his first start. Same result as his first performance off the bench 2 weekends ago, another goal.
Yeah, 2 goals in 2 games for Cummings, a fantastic start to his San Antonio Scorpions career. And as you said, the 5'7" winger Christian Palomeke, the Colombian, coming on for San Antonio.
Abdul Salam keeps it a draw for now. 23 yards out, that ball continued to climb off the left shoelaces of Jaime Frias.
Palomeke is going to get into this one early as we take a look at the replay of Frias' shot over the top. The opportunity to find the go-ahead goal, but Frias unable to keep it under the crossbar. To mention Palomeke, part of the Colombian under-23 national team, the native of Medellin, Colombia, and a longtime member of Atlético Nacional, one of the better teams in the first division of Colombia. He will look to get into the action immediately, trying to add a little pace to the Scorpions' attack.
Indy is poised to make their final substitution of the match. It'll be the defensive midfielder, Sergio Pena, who made the start last week. And the draw against New York.
We'll have to see who Pena is set to check in for, but maybe a signal in a change for Jürgen Sommer in philosophy here with just under 10 minutes remaining in regulation.
So, but Ford Deroux will toss this one in. I believe it'll be in place of Stoikov. And it is in fact Stoikov who will come off for yet another Honduran talent.
Stoikov off, Pena on, and well, Summer signaling that he's going to play a bit more defensively, a reinforcement there in the middle of the park. Stoikov more offensive-minded than Pena.
Pena had played all 180 minutes, making both starts the previous 2 weeks. Last time he faced San Antonio, he was named to the Team of the Week in the NASL. See if he can find success again from against the Scorpions.
The 11 has made all 3 of their substitutions. The Scorpions, they still have 2 left, and we'll see if there are any more changes.
Well, Abdul Salam had pushed forward. Here's a foul in midfield against the Indy 11. Back line for the Scorpions was a tad vulnerable for a counter. Chested down by Palomeke.
That time Castillo looking for his countryman, and Palomeke has won a free kick in a very dangerous position for San Antonio.
Well, this is the Rafa Castillo territory traditionally, and a yellow sent the way of Indy. And if that's on Mayers, that's number 2. I did not see a red to follow, so it appears that Indy will remain at full strength.
I actually believe that is going to be on the captain and the former Scorpion, Janicki. We'll have to get confirmation on that. But either way, as you so correctly stated, this is a Rafa Castillo territory. We take another look. Castillo looking to play the free kick quickly over the top for Palomeke. Palomeke bringing it back and taken down. No, that was not Janicki. My apologies. I was unable to see a number.
And as I noted, Castillo has been able to connect. Perhaps New York, the first time we saw him capitalize on an opportunity just like this. You noted he led the Scorpions in scoring strikes a year ago, and this one off the money.
Yeah, a bit to be desired there on the finish from Castillo. Took that one a bit casually for my liking. But either way, still a 1-1 ball game here. All to play for. You can tell both of these teams, they're still pressing, still looking for the full 3 points.
Well, it was Brad Ring who picked up the yellow. Again, broke his foot last time he was in San Antonio. A red at the time issued to Julius James, who was serving his 1-game suspension for a pair of yellows last weekend. 2 weekends ago against Tampa. Elizondo is forced to be fairly quiet. Palomeke commits the most recent foul.
It's been a rough start to this one for Palomeke since coming in just a few moments ago. He won a free kick. Castillo unable to put it on frame, but now committing the foul.
Morales back up. Now one of the many Honduran factoring into this match.
Yeah, certainly a Latin flavor to this team. 5 Colombians, a few Hondurans, and when we talk about the guys from the Caribbean islands as well, Billy Forbes from Turks and Caicos, Stephen DeRue, the Jamaican, and the absent Julius James from Trinidad and Tobago.
Indy 11 with their fingers crossed that no injuries mount here in the final moments. Also looking for their first lead.
Well defended there. Adekora giving up the body, deflecting the shot. Kempen never forced to make a save.
And again, play continues. Out wide to Brown. Unwilling to pull the trigger from the wing. It'll be Frias with the cross, Z the first man to it. I mentioned fingers crossed, hoping for no injuries besides for obvious reasons. But Indy, having used all 3 of their substitutions, don't want to be un hombre menos here in the final minutes.
And San Antonio not as stout defensively as they were to start this one. Some nervous moments in the final third. But Indy 11 unable to find the back of the net. They've only been able to get one by Kempen. Same for the Scorpions.
Omar Cummings and Eric Norales, the source of the 2 goals this evening. A 12-minute lead for the Scorpions extinguished by Norales and the visiting Indy 11. That was about 21 minutes ago when this match was leveled once again.
It was 0-0 at the half. Scorpions really dominating with shots on goal in the first 45 minutes, but unable to find the back of the net because of Christian Niecht and his defense. We'll see if they will come back to rue those missed opportunities.
Forbes and Castillo playing on the same side. That's a lot of creativity in that corner. They'll simply wind up back with the defenders from Indianapolis, and a kind helping hand from Marco Franco, who's been active all night long. A big first half for Neekt. He has not been called upon quite as frequently here in the second 45. Those early answers that he was able to come up with before we sent both teams to the locker room, they proved to be the difference in 3 points for the Scorpions, and either a draw or perhaps all three being taken back north by the 11.
As you mentioned, Neekt absolutely fantastic in the first half. Hasn't been called upon to make those saves here in the second. Credit the Indy 11 defense doing a good job stepping up, and now the change coming for the Scorpions, their second.
Yeah, Pablo Cruz will be granted entry in place of Billy Forbes now. Pablo, NASL fans were first introduced to when he joined Atlanta in time to host the Soccer Bowl in 2013, where they finished as a runner-up. This was after he was part of that Cal FC team that Eric Wynalda almost used as basically a farm system across the country to get the Silverbacks back on track a few years ago.
You mentioned that Cal FC team, one of the biggest upsets in U.S. Open Cup history, beating the MLS Portland Timbers back in 2012, and a large number of those Cal FC players making their way onto Atlanta.
Castillo will ground that ball. That's Elizondo. Ooh, big shot. No color will be sent the way of Ring. That would end his night.
Ring already sitting on a yellow, and he has to be cognizant of that, has to keep things a bit closer to the vest as we take a look here. And Ring, well, things looking a bit worse, possibly a bit of theatrics there from the Costa Rican, and no second yellow issued.
Handball on Castillo as that came up to bite him. Back over to Indy here for the final moments of this match. Minimal stoppage time you'd expect to come the way. We've seen brief injury pause and 5 subs.
Now, Cruz has made his way out to that far left side. He has yet to find a ball to the far side to Pablito Cruz, but plenty of space. The Scorpions can switch field, maybe get something going on the far flank.
From distance, Kempen cannot deny. Indy finds the answer from midfield and takes a lead here in the Alamo City.
Oh my goodness, what a strike that was. World class from at least 40 yards out. Kempen never thought that one was gonna reach his frame. As we take a look at it here, ball bouncing around, the shot coming off the Buda Peña, and Peña absolutely brilliant. And now it is a 2-1 lead to the Indy 11.
In the final minute, there will be at least 3 minutes of stoppage time. But this has gone from a 1-0 lead for John Kempen and the Scorpions in the second half to now a late deficit.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was a piece of individual brilliance. That will be one of the goals of the week. For my money, that has to be the play of the week. Absolutely phenomenal from Peña. And now can the Scorpions find an equalizer in the dying moments?
Apologies to Greg Janicki, but defense may once again go unnoticed among the top plays for the week. The offensive boot from just inside midfield. Scorpions looking for a quick answer of their own with just a little over 3 minutes left.
And the first goal of the year from the native of Zamora, Honduras, and what a goal it was. Absolutely fantastic from Peña. Previous member of Real Sociedad, and absolutely brilliant. Lightning in a bottle from Peña. And if that is the game winner, well, very, very well deserved.
Don Smart will draw out the foul. It is confirmed, 3 minutes. No fewer than 3 minutes of stoppage time.
Scorpions fans shell-shocked. They are in their seats, thought that they were going to at least get a point out of this, maybe something more. But looking more doubtful by the second.
Smart matched up with Abdul Salam. And we could be looking at a San Antonio side with its first 2 matches at home empty-handed heading into week number 4 of the spring season.
Yeah, the fans back up in the Circle City, counting the seconds, looking for their first 3 points of the year. 2 matches played, 2 draws.
Short corner from Smart. And I'll avoid any of the obvious puns, but a well-calculated choice. Just trying to kill some time there. Kempen need a sense of urgency. He'll entrust this ball to Castillo. Looking for Palameke. And Palameke did nothing but hold his ground. That's where you take a seat out from under a guy.
A very inauspicious start to Palameke, the man from Atlético Nacional in Colombia, coming on here as a late substitute in the second half. And
Franco just assumed he'd have a body to lean against, but he wins this ball back for Janicki. We'll see if Indy can find insurance. It's their first multi-goal performance here in 2015. Still offensive mindset on display.
again, that goal from Pena, the defender. Pena, not a goal scorer, a man who really plies his trade in the middle of the park, breaking up the offense of the other team. The opponent's trying to go the other way, but that time saw a little room, saw some space, had to go, and well, the Indy fans very happy he did.
It's the Honduran's 18th match with the 11. He had one assist to show for it throughout his year plus. That'll be his most memorable moment thus far.
He earned his first NASL Team of the Week honor for his performance against the Scorpions last October, and I have a feeling well, he may be on the Team of the Week again this coming week.
Indy may very well be staring at 5 points on the table when they arrive back home tomorrow. Poked through by Elizondo, but nobody there to complete any opportunity. Time has expired, and many jaws just now being picked up off the floor. They were dropped moments ago. A dagger from midfield has stolen a point away from San Antonio. A full 3 points for the first time this year belong to the 11 of Indy. The boys in blue from Indianapolis continue that unbeaten streak now to 8 consecutive matches dating into the end of last year.
And again, what a piece of individual brilliance from Pena. Pena had a bit of space, electing to put that one on goal, and well, you will have the opportunity to see that goal a few more times. I have a feeling that is going to make its way across the internet and TV stations galore. Pena, the first 3 points of the year for Indy 11. Scorpions 0-2 to start the season here at Toyota Field.